right, here we go with video 2 for reporting category 4, regional interactions. In this video, we're going to be talking about standard 15, which is the Renaissance. So after the Crusades, many of the people who had come back from the Crusades had an increased demand for these Middle Eastern products. This also stimulated production of goods to trade in those Middle Eastern markets. As trading increased, people wanted more money to increase their businesses, and so that led to the increase of credit. Credit expanded the money supply and expedited trade because it gave people money to start their small businesses. As trade increased, they also needed a way to keep up with the money that they were using, and so banking also evolved as a way to do that. The church had previously ruled against usury or charging high interest on loans, which made it a really great time to take out a loan. This helped to secularize North Italy because they had an increase in their money supply, and now they were able to do more things. Letters of credit served to expand the money supply, and they also were able to keep track of their accounting and bookkeeping using Arabic numerals that also came from the Middle East after the Crusades. As wealth accumulated from European trade with the Middle East, Italian city-states started to rise, especially Florence, Venice, and Genoa, that were the leading city-states because they had so much access to the trade routes that connected Europe to the Middle Eastern markets. These cities served as the trading centers for the distribution of the goods to Northern Europe and were initially independent city-states governed as republics. Machiavelli's government philosophy was very important guidelines for the absolute monarchs that emerged during this period. He believed that monarchs should acquire and maintain absolute rule no matter what. These monarchs should have absolute power over their entire kingdom. He believed, for example, that the ends justified the means, that no matter what you had to do it to keep your power, and that monarchs should do good if possible, but sometimes evil is necessary. And those two quotes are something that you might see on an SOL question. The Renaissance produced new ideas that were reflected in the arts, philosophy, and literature. For example, you had the patrons that were wealthy, newly expanded traders. They started to sponsor works that glorify these city-states in northern Italy. They start to invest in works of art and literature to improve the quality of this art and literature in the Renaissance area. The biggest difference you see between the Renaissance and the Middle Ages is in art and literature. During the Middle Ages, art and literature focus on the church and on salvation, while in the Renaissance, it focuses on individuals and worldly matters, that kind of concept of humanism. Famous Renaissance artists are Leonardo da Vinci. He painted the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper that you see down in the right-hand corner, and Michelangelo, who painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and David, the sculpture there. You can see that both of these artists emphasize humanistic qualities by using perspective, focusing on the human anatomy and how it was developed, and also that use of realism there. Most of the work of Renaissance artists is supported by wealthy patrons or people that paid them to make these artworks for them. During this time period, Petrarch, he was kind of coined the term humanism. He's the father of humanism, wrote a lot of pieces about the individual and how celebrated the works of like the world rather than Christianity and religion. Northern Europe also started to expand during this time period because there was so much trade, travel, and the increase of literacy with the printing press. It was able to travel to Northern Europe pretty quickly. It changed as people of different cultures started to adopt the Renaissance ideas. For example, the Renaissance was different from the Italian Renaissance in that it was a lot more based in religion. There was a lot more people merging that humanist ideology or that secular ideology with Christianity in the North. The printing press really helped to expand the Renaissance ideas in Northern Europe because of the production and sale of books that helped to spread the Renaissance ideas. Two major Renaissance writers that you just got to know are Erasmus and Sir Thomas More, who wrote two books kind of focusing in on humor and the people and like the way that people kind of acted and whatnot. Overall, the biggest thing you need to know here is that Northern Renaissance artists portrayed religious and secular subjects, but the Northern Renaissance as a whole was a lot more focused on religion. Go ahead and pause, take the quiz down at the bottom of your screen. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you back here later.